Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling robotic process automation, or RPA. You've probably heard the term floating around, and well, we're here to cut through some of the noise. Our goal in this deep dive is pretty straightforward: to give you, whether you're a young professional looking to upskill or maybe a seasoned expert wanting that extra edge, a really clear picture of what RPA is, why it can be such a game changer, and importantly, how you can actually use it in your career.
Exactly. And we've pulled together quite a bit of material to guide us. We're looking at the value from things like business process management, digital process automation, insights into the actual skills and careers opening up in RPA, the basics of what it is, its history, and then some practical stuff on the tools and techniques involved.
Okay.
So think of this as your faster track to really getting this technology.
Okay, great. So let's get right to it then. What exactly is RPA? I think the word robotic sometimes throws people off, makes them think of, well, actual robots.
Yeah, that's a common misconception. It's not about physical machines.
Yep.
Based on notes from the Atria Institute of Technology, RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. Let's break that down a bit. Robotic here means a software entity, something that mimics human actions on a computer.
Okay. Software mimicking humans.
Right. Process is just, a sequence of steps you take to get something meaningful done, a workflow.
Got it.
And automation simply means these tasks happen automatically without needing a person clicking through every single step.
So software doing the clicking and typing, basically, not physical robots on an assembly line.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Alexander Daniels Global puts it well. RPA uses software robots. People often call them bots. These bots are designed to handle those repetitive rules-based tasks. Things like data entry, moving information between different apps, filling out forms online, generating standard reports.
Ah, okay. The kind of stuff that takes up time but doesn't require a lot of, complex thought.
Exactly. Those necessary but sometimes tedious tasks that can really eat into your day.
Right. So how do these bots actually do this? Do they need complex coding to connect to all our different software?
Well, that's one of the neat things. Often, RPA is designed to work with your existing software, kind of like a human user would. It operates mainly on the user interface level, clicking buttons, typing text, copying and pasting.
So it interacts with the screen like I would?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You define the workflow, the steps you want it to take, based on clear rules, and it just follows them. Minimal human intervention needed once it's set up.
That sounds surprisingly flexible, and technology always moves forward. Are there smarter versions of RPA now?
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely seeing more advanced RPA models emerge. When you start blending RPA with technologies like AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, you get bots that can actually learn and make more intelligent decisions. They go beyond just following fixed rules.
Like what sort of decisions?
Well, for instance, an advanced RPA system might be able to understand and pull information from unstructured documents, like reading an invoice image, something that used to require manual review.
Yeah.
That takes the automation potential quite a bit further.
Okay, interesting. So we have a better idea of what it is, but why should someone listening, whether they're just starting out or have been in their field for years, really care about RPA? What are the actual concrete benefits for them?
Well, there's a fundamental value, often talked about with BPM2, which is enabling organizations to do more with less effort. And that definitely translates into real advantages for you as a professional.
Okay, let's hear them. What's in it for us?
Firstly, and this is a big one, increased efficiency and productivity. RPA takes over those tedious, time-sucking tasks. That frees up your time, your valuable hours, to focus on more strategic work, creative thinking, problem-solving, the more engaging stuff, really.
Right. Getting away from the repetitive grind. I can see the appeal there. What else?
Secondly, improved accuracy and data quality. Let's face it, humans make mistakes, especially with repetitive tasks. We get tired, distracted. Bots follow instructions precisely every single time. So you get significantly fewer errors, which means cleaner, more reliable data. And that's crucial for making good decisions and also for feeding accurate data into, say, AI systems down the line.
Fewer errors, better data. Definitely important. What about rules and regulations? Compliance is huge in many fields.
Absolutely. Enhanced compliance is another major benefit. You can program bots to follow regulatory requirements to the letter. Think Sarbanes-Oxley, GDPR, ETA Paley, the Atria notes mention these specifically. Bots ensure those steps are always followed, reducing the risk of non-compliance, which can be costly.
That could be a massive relief for companies in regulated sectors.
For sure. And then, from a broader organizational view, there's better scalability. If business suddenly picks up, you can deploy more bots relatively quickly to handle the increased volume. It's much faster, more flexible than hiring and training a lot of new people suddenly.
Yeah, scaling up or down becomes easier. Makes sense. We hear digital transformation all the time. How does RPA fit in?
It can be a really key part of supporting digital transformation. Lots of companies still have older legacy systems. Replacing them entirely can be hugely expensive and disruptive. RPA can act as a sort of bridge. It can automate processes that interact with those older systems without needing a massive overhaul right away. It's often a quicker, less costly path to making digital progress.
So it helps modernize without needing to rip everything out far.
Exactly. You get the efficiency gains while you plan longer-term upgrades. And finally, maybe the most relevant for individuals listening is the potential for higher job satisfaction. Honestly, when you automate the boring, mundane parts of a job, people can focus on the more interesting, challenging, and valuable aspects of their work. That can lead to less burnout, maybe lower turnover, and just generally more productive and engaged employees.
Okay, so RPA seems really powerful for automating specific tasks. But I've also heard the term business process automation, BPA. Are they the same thing, or is there a difference we should understand?
Yeah, that's a really good question and an important distinction to make. They both aim for efficiency through automation, sure, but they operate at different levels. RPA, as we've been discussing, mainly focuses on automating specific tasks within a process. Individual steps like copying data, clicking a button, generating one part of a report. Think small, targeted actions.
Okay, task-level automation. So what's BPA then?
BPA takes a much broader view. It aims to automate all the steps, or at least the majority of steps, within an entire end-to-end business process. It's looking at the whole workflow, start to finish. And often BPA goes hand in hand with business process management, or BPM. BPM is about analyzing, redesigning, implementing, and then managing entire business processes to make them as efficient and effective as possible.
Right, so DPM and BPA sound like a bigger undertaking, a more holistic approach than just automating a few clicks with RPA.
Generally, yes. Implementing BPM, and often BPA as part of it, usually requires a bigger investment in terms of time and resources. You're often re-engineering whole processes, which means detailed analysis, mapping things out across departments, potentially significant changes, and training people on the new ways of working. Because it's so rigorous, BPM is often really popular in heavily regulated industries, like finance, where that kind of end-to-end control and documentation is critical.
Got it.
RPA, on the other hand, can often be deployed more quickly to fix specific bottlenecks or automate annoying tasks within the existing process. It can be more tactical.
Okay, that makes the difference much clearer. RPA for tasks, BPA, BPM for whole processes. So for listeners thinking, okay, RPA sounds useful, maybe I should learn this, what skills are really essential if you want to build a career here?
Well, according to Alexander Daniels Global, and they're specialists in this Industry 4.0 recruitment space, including RPA, there are a few key areas. Firstly, some technical skills are usually needed. Programming often comes up as a core technical skill. Doesn't mean you need to be a hardcore developer, but understanding programming logic really helps in designing and troubleshooting automations.
Okay, some coding familiarity is good. What else? Beyond the pure tech aspect.
Absolutely critical is logical thinking and algorithm development. This is maybe even more important than deep coding skills for many RPA roles. You need to be able to break down a business process, sometimes a complex one, into a clear, logical sequence of steps that a bot can follow. That involves mapping out the process, identifying decision points, thinking about exceptions, essentially designing the brain of the bot.
Can you give an example of where that logical thinking comes in?
Sure. Think about an automotive company managing purchase orders. An RPA professional needs to design the logic so the bot knows. Check inventory if stock is low, create a PO, send it for approval based on value, update the system. What if the supplier is new? What if the approver is out of office? You need to build in that decision logic, those if-then-else pathways for the automation to work reliably. Or like a 3D printing company using RPA to monitor sensor data, the bot needs logic to flag anomalies or trigger alerts based on specific readings.
Right, it's about anticipating the different paths a process might take and telling the bot how to handle each one. Makes sense. What's the third key skill area?
And this one might surprise some people, but strong communication skills are vital.
Really? For a technical role?
Definitely. You're often working as a bridge between the business side, the people who understand the process and its needs, and the technical side, maybe the core IT team or other developers. You need to be able to understand the business requirements clearly, explain technical possibilities and limitations in plain English, document what the bot does, and train users. Good communication is essential for successful RPA projects.
So it's that blend. Technical ability, sharp logical thinking, and being able to talk to people effectively. Okay. Now, if someone's motivated, where do they start with tools? What are the main platforms out there?
Yeah, getting hands-on is key. The Atri Institute notes mention several leaders. A really big one you'll hear about is UiPath. Their platform has a few core components. There's UiPath Studio, that's the main development environment where you design the automation workflows. It's known for being quite visual, with drag-and-drop features and a recorder tool that can actually watch you perform tasks and try to build the automation steps for you.
Oh, that sounds helpful for beginners.
It can be, yeah. Then there's the UiPath Robot, which is the agent that actually runs the automations you build in Studio. And UiPath Orchestrator is like the control center for managing everything, deploying bots, scheduling jobs, monitoring performance, handling security.
Okay, Studio Robot Orchestrator. Got it.
And within Studio, you'll work with different project types, like sequences for simple linear tasks, or flowcharts for processes with more decision points. You use panels like the Designer to build a visual workflow, an Activities panel that has libraries of pre-built actions like click button or read email, and a Properties panel to customize how each activity works. You'll also learn about variables, which are like temporary storage boxes for data within your automation, and arguments, which let you pass data between different workflows. UiPath also has different recording modes: basic, desktop, web, Citrix, optimized for automating different kinds of applications.
Wow, okay. UiPath sounds pretty comprehensive. Who are the other main players?
Another major leader is Automation Anywhere. They're also very well established, particularly strong in the large enterprise space, providing really robust, scalable solutions. They've also been focusing a lot on what they call Attended Automation 2.0, especially after acquiring a company called CleaveOps. That's about making the collaboration between humans and bots smoother in real-time tasks.
Okay, Automation Anywhere. And you mentioned a third one.
Yes, Blue Prism is another key platform to know. They're interesting because they're a public company focused purely on RPA. Their strength is often seen in providing highly secure, scalable automation that fits well within the strict governance and IT controls common in large, complex organizations.
Right. So UiPath, Automation, Anywhere, Blue Prism, those are the big names to look into. Now let's talk careers. Where is RPA actually being used? Which industries are adopting it?
Well, the adoption is becoming incredibly broad. The Atri Institute notes mention finance, banking, and insurance. The BFSI sector were definitely early adopters and remain big users. But it's really spreading everywhere now: retail, consumer goods, manufacturing, healthcare, the legal field, HR departments, even marketing and sales are finding uses for it.
So pretty much anywhere with processes.
Essentially, yes. Any industry dealing with significant volumes of structured data and rules-based repetitive tasks is likely exploring or already using RPA.
So what does that mean for jobs? We hear about automation taking jobs, but what's the reality in the RPA space?
That's a valid point, and there's always discussion around automation's impact. Forrester even predicted some job shifts due to software automation by 2025. But, and this is crucial, new technologies like RPA also create a lot of new opportunities. Recruitment specialists like Alexander Daniels Global are seeing huge demand for people with RPA skills. It's not just about eliminating tasks, it's about creating new roles to manage and leverage this technology.
What kind of new roles are we talking about?
Things like RPA developers, who actually design, build, and test the bots using platforms like UiPath or Blue Prism. There are RPA business analysts who are crucial for identifying processes that are good candidates for automation and defining the requirements. Then you have RPA architects who design the overall RPA strategy and technical infrastructure for an organization, and RPA consultants who help companies figure out how to get started with RPA and implement it successfully.
So a whole ecosystem of roles is emerging around this technology. That's really important to highlight. Okay, for someone listening now, feeling inspired, thinking, I want to get into this, what's a practical step-by-step approach to becoming proficient, maybe even an expert?
All right, based on everything we've covered, here's a possible path, a kind of roadmap. Step 1, build that solid foundational understanding. Really get to grips with the core concepts, what RPA is, what it isn't, the benefits, how it differs from BPA. You need that solid base.
Makes sense. Start with the why and the what. Next.
Step 2, develop those key skills we talked about. Focus on technical aptitude. Maybe learn some basic programming principles if you don't have them. Python is often recommended. And really work on your logical thinking and problem solving. Practice breaking down processes. Think algorithmically. How would you instruct a computer step by step to do something complex? There are lots of online resources for logic puzzles and basic coding practice.
Okay, foundations, then skills logic, and some tech know-how. Step 3.
Step 3, Get your hands dirty with an RPA platform. This is crucial. Pick one of the main tools. UiPath has a great free community edition, so it's often a good starting point. Download it, install it, and start playing. Go through the tutorials, learn the interface UiPath Studio, the panels we mentioned, understand sequences, flowcharts, how the recorder works. Try automating simple things on your own computer first, like emptying the recycle bin or logging into a website or copying data from Excel to a web form. Practice using variables and arguments.
So, practical hands-on learning with a real tool. Step 4.
Step 4. Master workflow design and control flow. Learn how to structure your automations logically, when to use a simple sequence versus a more complex flowchart, and critically, learn how to use control flow activities, things like if conditions, switch statements, loops. This is how you make your bot smart enough to handle variations and make decisions within the process.
Right, teaching the bot to think, essentially. Step 5.
Step 5. Get good at handling data. Automation often involves moving, manipulating, or extracting data. So learn how to work with data tables within the RPA tool. Practice techniques like screen scraping, grabbing text directly from application screens, and data scraping, which is usually for pulling structured data, like from web tables or databases. Understand how to clean and transform that data as needed for the process.
Data is everywhere, so yeah, critical skill. What about more advanced stuff? Step 6.
Step 6. Explore some of the more advanced techniques. Look into OCR, optical character recognition. That's huge for automating processes involving scanned documents or images with text. Also, learn about robust error handling. Using things like try-catch blocks in your code makes your automations much more reliable. They won't just crash if something unexpected happens. They can handle errors gracefully. And learn about checking if screen elements exist before interacting with them.
Building resilience into the bots. Good point. Step 7.
Step 7. Practice, 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 and build projects. Theory is one thing, but applying it is everything. Look for opportunities to automate small tasks in your own work, if possible, or invent scenarios. Build small projects that solve a hypothetical business problem. Document them. This creates a portfolio you can actually show to potential employers or clients. It proves you can do it.
Real-world application is key. And the final step, Step 8.
Step 8. Never stop learning. Stay updated. RPA is a field that's moving fast. New features, new tools, best practices are always evolving. So commit to continuous learning. Follow industry blogs, join online communities and forums. UiPath is a very active one. Maybe take advanced courses, attend webinars. Staying current is absolutely essential for long-term success.
That's a fantastic roadmap. Very clear, very actionable. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway you want to leave our listeners with today?
I think the key message is the sheer potential here. RPA really can transform how we work, whether you're just starting out or you've been working for decades. It's a powerful tool for taking the robotic tasks away from humans, freeing us up for the things that require unique skills. Creativity, critical thinking, empathy, complex problem solving.
So it's really about augmenting human capability, letting us focus on higher value work by handing off the routine stuff to the bots.
Precisely. And maybe that's the final thought for you listening. Really embrace this opportunity. Learning about and potentially mastering RPA isn't just about learning a new technology. It's about developing a skill set that lets you innovate, contribute more meaningfully, and frankly, make your own work more engaging. The ability to automate the mundane and focus on what truly matters is going to be increasingly valuable. So, keep exploring, keep learning. This field is exciting, and it's shaping the future of how we all get work done.